demigods, we have nothing to fear. As for Lord Vishnu, he is in seclusion with 4 houses of yogis. As for Lord Shiva, he has gone to the forest. And as for Lord Brahma, he is always engaged in austerities and meditation. The other demigods celebrating that are devoid of prowess. Therefore, you have nothing to fear. Nonetheless, because of their enmities, our opinion is that the demigods should not be neglected. Therefore, to approve them completely, engage us in fighting with them, for we are ready to follow you. As a disease, if initially neglected, becomes acute and impossible to cure, or as the senses, if not controlled at first, are impossible to control later. An enemy, if neglected in the beginning, later becomes unsurmountable. The foundation of all demigods is our Vishnu, who lives and is worshipped wherever there are religious principles, traditional culture, the Vedas, cows, brahmanas, austerities, and sacrifice with proper remuneration. O king, we who are your adherents in all respects, shall therefore kill the Vedic brahmanas, the persons engaged in offering sacrifices and austerities, and the cows that supply milk from which verified birth is obtained for the ingredients of sacrifice. The brahmanas, the cows, austerities, truthfulness, control of the mind and senses, faith, mercy, tolerance, and sacrifice are different parts of the body of Lord Vishnu, and they are separate of our body visualization.
We are, yes, 42. This is the last one. We are reciting this.
This one.
Yes.
Lord Vishnu, the super soul within the core of everyone's heart, is the ultimate.
He is the leader of all the demigods, because all the demigods exist under his protection. The great saintly persons, sages, and Vaishnavas also depend upon him. To persecute the Vaishnavas, therefore, is the only way to kill Vishnu. Jai Haribol. So we're looking at verse 42. Sahi sarva suradyakshu Yasura dvid guha shaya Tanmula devata sarva Shishvara sa chatur mukha Ayang vaitad vadopayo Yadrishinam vihingsanam
Sahi sarva suradyakshu.
Sahi sarva suradyakshu
Yashura dvidguhasaya
Yasura dvidguha shaya Tanmula devata sarva Shishvara sa chaturmukha. Hello. Ayam vaitad rupayo Yadrishina vihimsanam Sahi sarva suradaksho Yasura dvidguha shaya Tanmula devata sarva
Shishvara sa chaturmukha
Shishvara sa chaturmukha
Ayam vaitad vadopayo.
Ayam vaitad vadopayo Shrinam Sanam Sai Sarva Suradaksho Yasura Vidguha Shaya Tanmula Devata Sarva Shishvara Satchaturmukha Ayam Vaitad payo. Yadrishinam vihingshanam.
Sahi sarva suradyakshu
Sahi sarvadaksho. Yashurat vid guhashaya.
Tanmula devata sarva
Tanmula devata sarva.
Sheshwara sa chaturmukha
Sheshvara. It's mukha. We went through this yesterday. It's a long A, and it's the end of a sentence. These they go in couplets. So mukha. If everybody could remember, it's not mukha. All right, and the next. Ayam vaitad ropayo yadrishinam vihinsanam saha. He, Lord Vishnu. He, indeed. Sarvasura Ajakshaha, the leader of all the demigods. He, indeed. Asuradvit, the enemy of the Asuras. Guha Shaya, he is the super soul within the core of everyone's heart. Tat Mula, taking shelter at his lotus feet. Devata, the demigods exist. Sarva, all of them. Sa Ishvara, including Lord Shiva. Sa Chatu Mukha, as well as Lord Brahma, who has 4 faces. Ayam, this is. Vai, indeed. Tat vada upayaha, the only means of killing him. Vishnu. Yat, which. Rishinam, of great sages. Saintly persons or Vaishnavas. Vihingsanam, suppression with all kinds of persecution. Translation. Lord, we'll read this together, okay? Lord Vishnu, the super soul within the core of everyone's heart, is the ultimate enemy of the Asuras, and is therefore known as Asuradvit. He is the leader of all the demigods, because all the demigods, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, exist under his protection. The great saintly persons, sages, and Vaishnavas also depend upon him. To persecute the Vaishnavas, therefore, is the only way to kill Vishnu. Purport was Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Don't look. Okay. The demigods and the Vaishnavas especially are part and
Parcel of Krishna.
no, what was that?
It's
Okay.
part and parcel.
I was just trying to portray like a
Delivery.
like an Amazon guy. Okay. Parcel of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, because they are always obedient to his orders. Om Tad Vishnu Paramang Padang Sada Pashyanti Suryaha. The demoniac followers of Kamsa thought that if the Vaishnavas, saintly persons and sages, were
Killed. Dead.
persecuted, the original body of
Vishnu.
would naturally be destroyed. Thus, they decided to suppress Vaishnavism. The Asuras perpetually struggle to persecute the Vaishnavas because they do not want Vaishnavism to spread.
Toast.
Okay, with avocados on top. Okay, Vaishnavas preach only devotional service, not encouraging karmis, jnanis, and yogis, because if one must liberate oneself from material conditional life, one must ultimately become a our is Javad, if he could come back. Prahlad Maharaj, who is quite the opposite, he was instructing his classmates that this is the way we have to view people. No one is my friend, no one is my enemy. right? That's the idea. It's not this and that, or that. And chapter 16 from Bhagavad Gita, what's it called? Chapter 16 from Bhagavad Gita. What's the chapter title? Divine demoniac natures, yes, that's right. So when there's a delivery there by Lord Krishna in his narrative to Arjuna about what is a demonic person or the kind of mentality, it's right there. You should see it in the text. It's very powerful. He is my enemy, and I shall kill him. That's the kind of idea. You know, that's how people who are self-conscious behave. There are some even religions who think like that. They have that mentality. They are the enemy. We have to kill them, tax them, this, that, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is the mentality of Kamsa and his kind, is that anybody who gets in the way of what I want, anybody who's an obstacle, producing an obstacle course, they must be eliminated. And even when we go to the pastime of Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad, as you know, he got indoctrinated. He got indoctrinated by Narada Muni. Narada Muni, indoctrination, that means brainwashed. You know, he got brainwashed by Narada Muni to love the Lord, right? While he was in the womb of his mother. So he was enlightened when he came out of the womb. He was already there. He didn't have to go to any school, you know. You know that Shakespeare, he was a brilliant writer. He never stepped inside of a college. Never. He was just a prodigy, a child prodigy, born extremely gifted. And when he started his whole career, he was not on the stage. He was in the back. He was doing the props. He was the guy at the back, the stage manager, helping to change the actors quickly. That's what he was doing before. So he spent a lot of time on the stage, off stage, but never at a college. And even though he was such a wise fellow. So Prahlad was like that. He was a child prodigy, and he was enlightened at birth. And he was telling his classmates, let's get on with Dharma. Dharma, how does it go? Kumara, I'm trying to think about the shloka. Somebody can help me with this one. When he was saying when you're in the Kumara stage, a young child, you should learn about spiritual life. It should start really when you're young. And so that was his great gift to the world. His father, however, who was also a terrorist, in old days they had Hamas, they had ISIS, they had all these kind of characters. And they've always been around. And their mentality is, he is my enemy, and I must kill him. I must eliminate him, and I must rape their women, blah, blah, blah. That's the scenario pretty much, right? It's very demonic, and it's very Halloween-like, I guess you could say. Prahlad was like that, and he taught, don't see anybody as your enemy. See that the Lord is in everyone's heart. Vidyavinaya sambhane brahmane gavahashmi shuni chaiva shvapakecha pandita samadarshina. A real wise person is one who sees the equality in all. That's got to be one of the most powerful verses from Bhagavad Gita, Vidyavinaya sambhane. Because you see that if you're a soul and you're trapped in the body of a dog, or trapped in the body of a dog eater, or trapped in the body of an elephant, which isn't as bad, or trapped in the body of a cow or a Brahmin, everybody's the same spiritually. It's just that when you filter yourself through life, through the different modes of nature, 3 different modes, you end up with different states of consciousness. And you know how Prabhupada explains it, why there's 8,400,000 different categories of living entities. it works like this. There's 3 modes of material nature, and 3 times 3, like when you crossbreed, 3 by 3 is 9, 9 times 9 is 81, 81 times 81 is, come on, huh? Okay, thank you very much. And then it all adds up to be 8,400,000 different species of life, different states of consciousness. You know, even amongst the humans, there's 400,000 different kinds of human beings, according to the Vedas. There's that many. Just in this room alone, I'm not sure. I think everyone's quite, you know, brahminical, studious, good, etc., etc. But Prahlad was of a different kind, and he didn't see like his father saw. His father was opposed to Vishnu. Kamsa, the same thing, they're opposed to Vishnu. Bali Maharaj was opposed to Vishnu, but what redeemed Bali Maharaj was the fact that his guru told him, you got to take care of the Brahmins, you know, take care of saintly people, and he did that. That was because of his redeeming grace. Otherwise, he was part of that clan. Prahlad is part of the clan, but he didn't have that same mentality. Do you remember in the Gita where there's mention of Prahlad? Amongst the Daityas, I am Prahlad. So Daitya means somebody who's born from Diti, and Diti, who had a sister, Aditi, was, I'm talking about Diti now, not Aditi, but Diti had, her approach to life wasn't as honorable as her sister. So just to remember, the story is very simple. Diti approached her husband at not the wrong time, incorrect hour, and Aditi approached at the right time. So Diti was known to give birth to Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu. They were not of the best character, and they were enemies of Vishnu. That's how they saw themselves. And enemies are full of enmity, isn't it? Maybe if you have that word enmity, it's like very lined up with enemy. And yesterday we were also talking about cynicism, right? It was yesterday, cynicism. The word sin is like, if you're cynical, then you're sinful. That's like, these words you can kind of put together poetically. It's kind of fun. Okay. So at the core at the heart of the Vaishnava culture, which is the culture that we've adapted to, is Vishnu. You know, we're called Vaishnavas. That means we follow Vishnu / Krishna. How many times that's Prabhupada explain it like that? And so we have that allegiance, and if you want to kill the Vaishnavas, then you kill Vishnu. Or if you want to kill Vishnu, you kill the Vaishnavas, because they're all, you know, it's a circle, a ring of people who are like-minded, isn't it? Now, Vaishnavas are not Vishnu, and Vishnu is not a Vaishnav. But we can say one thing, it's right out of the Bhagavatam, that the heart of Vishnu, what is there? What's it made up of? Vaishnavas. And if you offend Vaishnavas in some way, you're attacking the heart of Vishnu. You're giving him a heart attack, you know? And even though he cannot be destroyed, he gets hurt. Is that possible, that God can be hurt?
Yes.
Bhagawan can actually be hurt. He has feelings, by the way. He's a sentient being. That means he has senses and he has feelings. You know? By the way, our theme for this year's AGM, which is held in Montreal this year, is, what is it called? Feel, heal, be real, right? Because we're having some medical people there and so on like that. And of course, the ultimate healing is chanting Krishna's name. You know? I had a discussion with one Vaishnav yesterday, and while walking in the rain, and said, "Can't we just take care of everything?" This was more or less the consensus of what the devotee was saying. do we really need to take care of ourselves through external means? Can it just be chant Hare Krishna and be happy? Won't that solve all the problems? And then we gave an example that, well, Krishna is giving you some intelligence, some brains, so why don't you use those brains in Krishna's service? For instance, the devotees, when they first built up the Mumbai temple, Malati was there, Shyamsundar, all these devotees, and the former owner of the place, he was really nasty. Prabhupada felt he was getting a lot of headache from this man, Mr. Naren. And the devotees were, the police came in, and they were just following their order, and the devotees were dragged. First of all, they were living a hard life, a rat-infested place, because the place was secured by devotees now, but it was a very difficult, challenging circumstance for them. It was dirty, it was not clean, and devotees were getting sick, and all that kind of, rats were all over the place. Now the police came in, and they acted even more rat-like than the rats. They were dragging devotees, pulling them by the hair and everything like that, and just trying to get them off the property, because the former landowner was another terrorist, you can say, right? So Prabhupada heard about this. He wasn't there at the time, and he said, get a lawyer, take legal action, because these are the people that can do something about, problems when it comes to legal matters. So you see what I'm trying to say here is that go to people in the field of expertise, if you got plumbing problems, who do you call? Right. If you've got, let's say, what else? You got you're a leaky roof. Who do you call? The makeup artist, or no. You go to the people that are established in this area. Use your intelligence. You see. So in Krishna consciousness, we must use our intelligence, as the Lord states in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. You could actually look it up. If somebody can please look it up, where Krishna is saying, I give you intelligence. When you approach Krishna with devotion, he will give you intelligence, whereby you can come to him. Just overall general intelligence. And I think everybody wants intelligence, isn't it? How many people want to be a little bit smart? Yeah. Okay, I think everybody in the room here is saying, I didn't quite see the universal form. That would have been like this, but you guys kind of went like that, and I'm okay with that. It's a pass. Yeah, so we're really looking at a situation where if you want to get at Vishnu, you've got to disturb the Vaishnavas, or if you want to destroy the culture, just go after the Vaishnavas themselves. And well, what else? You can go after the cows, you can go after the bulls. They also represent Dharma, isn't it? The mother and the father of the community. So kill them, slaughter them. We live in a world where there's a lot of slaughtering going on, right? So it's really like subliminally an attempt to kill Vedic culture, because culture lies in protecting the animals. Even Mahatma Gandhi made some statements about that, So these are some of the key things. When we look at the story of Ravana and what he had his Rakshasas do, the Brahmins would be doing some homa, some sacrifice, fire sacrifice, right? And some crazy guy would come in, an asura, and he would use the oven as a toilet, and that meant that your offerings are spoiled, And of course, there was much more terror that went along with it. I was reminded, one of the actors that I worked with for the bus tour, he had a sort of an eccentric nature. And in Alachua, where the bus tour starts from, devotees were telling me that this one actor, he while Radhanath Swami, who was visiting there, was doing some kind of talk or some havan, and then this devotee came in an ape suit, like Dvidvid, right in the middle of it, it's a little bit eccentric, a little bit in the middle of a holy exercise. So, I mean, that's pretty innocent compared to the scenario of Rakshasas coming in and spoiling, urinating and everything and spoiling the whole offering, The gods will not be pleased, So they do much worse things. They're there to kill. People have got a killing mentality. They, in one sense, they really don't belong here. They don't belong or shouldn't belong on planet Earth. We've all heard about so many wars that have taken place. There's always some war. There's never a time of shanti, isn't it? There's never a time of peace. Yeah. There is always something going on. Something's astir somewhere in some part of the world, sometimes several places at one time. And currently, what's going on right now, there's so much agitation, there's so much hate all over the world, so much intolerance, notions of racism, notions of killing, it's a very difficult time. And it comes from the leaders, of course, an absence of Brahminical culture. And certainly the so-called Kshatriyas are not doing a very good job these days. There are a few people that kind of temper it. But if we didn't have those kind of people who are a little bit, let's say, diplomatic and, let's say had some sense, a sense about them, I think we would be in a much more horrible state. So when war is on and it's moving and it's building up a momentum and it escalates in intensity, eventually what happens, it has to crash. Whatever goes up must come down. I'll give you another song from the 60s, okay? What goes up must come down, spinning wheel, round and round, something like that, okay? So anything that goes up must come down. And even when you read the Mahabharata, the Kshatriyas say, I feel cursed to be a Kshatriya, going through a grueling war. It's like, 18 days was not a bad time, when we were reading history books on Europe, 100-year war, 300-year war. Just, how is it possible that things could be, there could be so much hate for so long? Do you remember when Bhishma Dev was being, in a sense, haunted by Amba? She was, hate keeps me alive, I mean, it is true that some people, they thrive on hate, I guess because it's exciting, right? And I was with Uddhava the other day. We went to, we made a walk to Casa Loma, and, I guess we concluded that we were at the intersection across the road for the entrance of this haunted house. You pay $45 to get in. It's all these young people lined up like anything to have a spook, And there was one guy who's about 6 feet 5 inches tall, and he was dressed like a zombie, and looking at us. And our conclusion was that life is dull. You have to have some excitement. You have to have that sort of. It's even one of the minor rasas that we study about. What's a ghastliness? Did you know that's one of the rasas? There's 5 primary rasas, right? Beginning with Shanta rasa, etc. And then finally, you've got the minor rasas, and one of them is ghastliness. People get excited, being spooked or being, scared about something, or something's ghastly with blood and guts all over the place. Some people really thrive on this stuff, right? I think we all have an element where, life is kind of monotonous. It's kind of boring. Even Krishna, he makes up all these dramas. He creates wars and everything like that because life can be a little bit flat, you know, a little bit like a prairie. You know, so he makes up all these leelas and pastimes to stir up all this excitement. So that's exactly what he does. So we can be grateful for God's theatrics. You know, we meditate on them, and the end result of, you know, whether it's following war or looking at some, you know, the intrigue in the palace. Wherever there's a big building, there's always going to be some intrigue. Isn't it true? And then later on it becomes a haunted house. It's always like that, big buildings, you know. And, you know, the butler's around the corner, and, you know, he's probably the one who just hung that guy over there. And all these kind of things are going on. So I think many of you probably like thriller movies or haunting. Is that true? Does anybody like? Do you get a thrill out of? Or maybe when you were younger, you got a thrill. Oh my God, you know. And then when you go camping in the summer, which a proper Canadian does, then you set up light up a campfire. You know, you get some wood, kindling, and so on like that. Start up a fire, and then it's traditional. Just talk about ghost stories. Right, isn't it? And everyone comes in close together by the fire, close to each other. Oh no, it's the boogeyman going to come and get me. So there seems to be that kind of, you know, let's say, rush or adrenaline that we all have, you know. And that's why the pastimes are there. They're very riveting. They're very captivating, you know. And it was just all about peace and love and people walking through the meadow, and birds are, you know, this and that, butterflies are flitting about and all that. It was just like that. I think it gets bland after a while, you know, isn't it? So you have to have a real nice balance of, you know, of the sweet and sour, kind of like a Chinese sabji. How many people like Chinese sabjis? Okay, it's a mixture of sweet and sour. How about you, Nityananda? You don't like sweet and sour Chinese sabjis? No? Okay. All right. So life, when it's like that, when it's established like that, we thrive. Things, it's part of life. So that's life, right? That's right. And in Krishna's life, there are these dualities as well, you know, but they end up on a transcendental note. If we live in a world of dualities, the good thing about it is, yeah, you learn tolerance, right? Matra sparshasta konteya, shitoshna sukadugada, agama pahano nityas, tangs tatiksha swabharata. The other day I was teasing one of the devotees, hey, we got some salad here, you need a tong, or you need something to pick up the chapati, so you don't put your dirty fingers in there. Tongues, get the tongues to tiksha swabharata, for God's sake. You know, so, and tongs, that's another thing that people are not very ready. When you go on a camping trip, you don't wear tongs. You know, those things with the little thing in it. I mean, that's just absolutely stupid and ridiculous, you know. You wear good footwear. So in terms of preparing yourself for what could be nasty is, let's always be ready for the nastiness that the material world provides. There are some very nasty people out there. There are some creatures out there that would want to eat you, predators, you know. So are you ready? And when Prabhupada was talking about the mission to the moon, he said you have to have a proper body, or at least a proper suit, you know, to be in the moon and to be in that atmosphere. You can't go, and you can't go in your dhoti like that, you know, it's, you know, or your sari, you know, you have to be in a special suit to go there, or in a special subtle body to be able to survive in the place like the moon. So let us prepare ourselves. Let's always protect ourselves from the matrix, from Maya. And how do you do that? Yeah, and that will open it up for your discussions. I want to thank the Prabhu who put up the clock. Thank you. Who was that?
Alex.
Alex, thank you. Now we know where we stand. Okay, so, yeah, we opened up with a question. Are we finished with the question? What was the question? Just to refresh our memory.
How do you prepare yourself
Uh,
for people out?
Yeah, how do you prepare yourself for Maya? How do you do that? Can I see some hands come up? How do you prepare? Sí, señor.
You prepare by surrounding yourself in good association, I guess.
Yes, Sangha, yeah, that's the key point. Yeah, you hit on the actual thing. You can give different answers to this question, you know? Yes, do you want to give?
Yeah, I think the few chapters in Bhagavad Gita, that helps a lot. So just maybe absorbing them. Like, I think it's chapter 14 that talks about 3 modes of material nature, or the demoniac nature. But understanding this is the conditioning of the people. It's not actually them doing. This is like a club, and this is the music. This is the environment in the club. You can't help it.
Mhm.
It is like that. So I think just maybe absorbing Bhagavad Gita teachings.
Sure.
helps a lot.
Absorbing the Shastra, observing and absorbing the Shastras. That's good. Any other answers to how do you protect yourself? Yes.
One devotee, I don't remember his name, but he said that if you want to protect yourself from Maya, he said attack is the best defense. So you go out there, preach, and do devotional service. That
Okay.
ways you'll be protected from Maya.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. You share, you do outreach of Krishna consciousness. Very good answer. It is a good answer. Any other answers to this question? How do you protect yourself from Maya?
Chanting. Prasadam.
Yeah, prasadam, and also chanting. Okay, study of Shastra. That's called Swadhyaya. Anything else? If we want to rate these answers, I would just say that the topmost answer to this question is Sangha. Because if you have the Sangha, there will be mantra, there will be sadhana, there will be Shastra, right? If you just think Shastra by itself and you go to a lonely corner somewhere and stay, up in Algonquin Park or something like that, you're going to fall into Maya, So you need the devotee there who will remind you and keep you on track with all these other little elements. Okay? Yep.
Yeah, but just adding to that, I've personally experienced, I thought coming to the temple and doing my rounds is very difficult because I have to be in certain mode of passion to just get ready, to do whatever I have to do before coming to the temple. But actually just being with the devotees, the japa is not like, the quality is very different.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's with devotees. And it's the same time at home, it's not the same. And then I really like when you said that Krishna's heart is made up of Vaishnavas.
Mm-hmm.
And when you hurt a devotee, you're actually attacking the heart of
Yeah.
Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
And again, these things are very nice to reflect and talk, but somehow I think we should practice absorbing this. Like if I have this in my mind all day that if I hurt a devotee that gives a heartache to my Lord, then we'll be scared. Because no one wants, like for example, no one would want their parents to get even a scratch. And imagining that my father got a scratch, it gives me pain. So it's the same thing, just being in that consciousness. This is hurting Krishna. And while I offended Subhadra, like the heart of Krishna right now is aching. So what can I do to fix it right away?
Mm-hmm.
That was a
Nice.
very nice point that you made.
Yeah, thank you. Well, the point is made in the Bhagavatam, actually. I didn't make up that philosophy. Good, thank you. Thank you, that's good. Anything else, Bruce? Okay, if there isn't, then I'll seek your guidance. Today I am supposed to be at 8:30 tonight doing an energy class over Zoom with the Noida devotees. Every 6 months they ask me to do something. And the topic is servant leadership. You've heard that phrase before. To be a servant leader, right? So I would like to hear from you, Peruz. What's at the core of a servant leader? You know, that style of living. I just want to hear, there's so many different components under any heading. So what would be the components of servant leader? Of course, servant is there, right? What else? If I can ask your fertile brains, because Dadati, what is it? Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. Krishna's given you all good brains. What do you think is at the heart of servant leadership? Or, what can you say about that in general? The topic, yes.
One thing is that servant leader, they take care of the people in a way that people matter to them more than the task or the service. Their well-being matters to them. And at the same time, their life actually, they genuinely care about the person, but at the same time, they also give free will. Meaning that, if they could make a mistake, and if it's a manager outside, like who's not a servant leader, a leader, so any mistake is blamed on the subordinate, and that subordinate blames it on their subordinate. But a servant leader takes the responsibility and holds himself accountable. Like, this mistake was made, but this is not this is my mistake because I didn't train them well.
Okay, Peruz, I think it's good to write these things down if you don't mind, and we'll just compile a list of, of the points. You talk servant leader, somebody who's responsible, somebody who cares,
someone who cares,
somebody who's accountable,
and puts relationship before services.
Establishes relationships with everybody. Yeah, these are all good points. Yeah. Anything else?
Servant leader is also exemplary.
Exemplary,
Yeah,
right.
like Prabhupada.
He does what he asks everyone else to do.
Prabhupada asked us to follow 4 regs, but he himself was not smoking either. So that's exemplary because he was following 4 regs as well. They're not hypocritical.
Yeah. I was also thinking that gratitude is an important one. You pat everybody in the back for what they're doing, You express, hey, it's great what you're doing. That's wonderful, You cooked a great offering. Oh, your arti was just absolutely wonderful. Or, I like how you cleaned, the mirror.
Appreciate
You got your Windex out and you cleaned the window properly. And I like how you went out of the way and picked up the garbage from, the front of the temple. And somebody probably accidentally, all those kind of things. The gratitude element is really important. Yeah. Yes, we'll hear from you.
I think a servant leader is always in the mentality of a servant, like trying to serve, not so much in the mentality of a leader that, oh, I'm leading this.
I'm in charge. You do what I say. Okay, right. Good, yes, Peru.
A servant leader teaches by his own example.
He what?
Teaches by his own example.
exemplary.
Oh, yes, exemplary. Very good, yes.
He focuses on what is needed, not on what he wants to do.
Okay. What needs to be done? Yeah. Everyone else comes first. I'll just recognize. Go ahead.
A servant leader is willing to listen.
Is which?
Is willing to listen.
Oh, listen. Yeah, this is one of the key things.
And
Shravanam.
And it's not hypocritical in his own actions. Make sure it's again exemplary.
Good. Yeah, I was thinking also that there are 9 processes of devotional service. A servant leader filters through all of these. He hits every one of them. Yep. Okay.
A servant leader is also open to feedback. They take feedback for sure, and at the same, because they also believe that they're not the controllers, but they're controlled by someone. Like so situations may go out of control, but so they are the instruments of the Lord. They are not the Lord.
Good, yes, good. So they go for an assessment, you know, regular assessment.
Yeah.
A good leader, servant leader, like, how am I doing? You know, you just ask, how am I doing? You ask somebody who's a little more experienced or something like that. Don't just ask Joe Blow who came through the door, how am I doing? You know, the guy doesn't know anything. So you ask the right people for that feedback. Anything else? Yes, Baru?
Building connection is, I think, a very important factor. And
What
technology-
connection?
Building connection, connecting people is very, very important. So you should listen to them, you should acknowledge their feelings, and then you can come up with
Yeah.
a empathy kind of mindset. You can guide them how to grow, and rather making orders or something. So it's better. Assisting mode is always better.
Yeah, you know,
Accepting-
one beautiful thing that Prabhupada always did when people were coming to visit him in the early days in New York, for instance, and, you know, he does this, so how are you, and what's your name? Are you from here? And it'd be small talk, you know? And he would, you know, say, so what do you do, you know? And at least I know two people who answered the question when Prabhupada asked, so what do you do? He said, I sell drugs. Prabhupada said, oh yeah, I have also sold drugs, as in a pharmacy, you know, pharmaceuticals, you know. Yeah, and you know, you get into small talk, like Rabinder Sarup was telling me that in Philadelphia when they had the devotees had a facility, a house, and it was like a semi-detached kind of house, and there was a woman living, an elderly lady living next door to the devotees, and on some occasion Prabhupada and her would meet at the entrance, because the entrance was shared, right? And Prabhupada was just talking about, you know, and this blew Rabindra Sarup's mind and everybody else. They thought Prabhupada only talks about Krishna, but he said, oh, how are you? Prabhupada went, how are you? Oh, really? You know, and I am, you know, he would say, I'm such and such age, 70, whatever it is, and I still have all my teeth. Do you have your teeth? Those kind of things, just getting a small talk, you know, and, you know, getting on their level, and, you know, some light humor, you know. You know, just like you do with children. With children, you can't be, you know, a total disciplinarian. You can have a little fun with them, you know, make them feel accepted. I have used that technique for years with kids. You just say, give me a 5, and then as they're ready to come, you remove the hand, and then hey, wait, and then you put it up again, and they, and initially they're shy or they're like this, you know. But before the night is over, before you leave, if you just try them on this, you know, give me a 5, you've won over their friendship, you know, because they smack you, and they feel they've achieved something. Okay, those are some good points, and thank you very much, and